بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أحسن الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. In today's lesson we are looking at chapter 32 from Kitab-ut-Tawheed, and this chapter is titled Bab Qawlullahi Ta'ala إنما ذلكم الشيطان يخوف أولياءه فلا تخافوهم وخافون إن كنتم مؤمنين. So the Shaykhul Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab rahimah-ullah has included an ayah as part of the chapter heading, and the translation of this chapter heading, the rough meaning is chapter on the saying of Allah the Most High, verily that is Shaytaan who seeks to instill fear. He tries to instill fear into you of his supporters and friends, of his awliya. So therefore do not fear them, but fear me, if indeed you are truly believers. So this chapter is in relation to the subject of fear, and as the Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan says in the beginning of his commentary, he says that this chapter has been placed in this book by the Shaykh on the subject of khawf, fear. And then the Shaykh continues and says that this khawf, al-khawf, is one of the pillars, or one of the supporting pillars of ibadah, or one of the central pillars of ibadah. Just like it has already preceded in the previous chapters the Shaykh is referring to, that mahabba and khawf and ar-raja, which is love, fear and hope, that these three are the greatest of the types of worship, and they are actions of the heart. So when mahabba was mentioned in the previous chapter, because Shaykhul Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab in the previous chapter he discussed al-mahabba, he then wanted to follow that with al-khawf, hence this chapter on khawf, on fear, because he wanted to show that mahabba on its own isn't sufficient. Rather, because worshipping with love only is the methodology of the astray Sufis. But as for the manhaj, the methodology of the messengers and their followers, then it is built upon mahabba and khawf and raja, on love, fear and hope. So loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala along with fearing Him and hoping in Him, then this is what is intended. And also other actions of the heart, such as tawakkul, reliance upon Allah, and raghba, and having this aspiration, and rahba, which is having this apprehension of a type of fear, and khashya, having a type of awe. All of these are from the actions of the heart, and these are great actions of worship. So then the Shaykh says that when we look at khawf, we find that it has three types. Al-khawf is of three types. Then the first type is what's called khawf al-sir, which we could translate as the secret inward fear. And the Shaykh says that this is a fear which has alongside it a worship of other than Allah. It's a fear that implies and comprises a worship of other than Allah. Or it also includes abandonment of that which Allah has made obligatory. And what does it mean? The Shaykh says it means, for example, when a person fears other than Allah, so he fears the idols, he fears the statues, he fears anything which is worshipped besides Allah, such as the graves and the tombs and the mausoleums, or he might fear the shayateen, he might fear the jinn, so he fears something other than Allah, and he therefore, as a result of that fear, he seeks to become near to them. He seeks to become near to them on account of what those people love of shirk in Allah, and he does this so that he is saved from their evil. He wants to protect himself from their evil. And this thing here is major shirk, which expels a person from the religion. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned regarding Ibrahim, his friend is Khalil Ibrahim alayhi salam, that Ibrahim said to his people, ولا أخاف ما تشركون به إلا أن يشاء ربي شيئا. So he says that I don't fear those that you associate with Allah. You know, I don't fear them. I don't fear those that you associate with Allah in worship, except my Lord, except unless my Lord wills something of that, unless He wills something of that. And then he said straight after, وَكَيْفَ أَخَافُ مَا أَشْرَكْتُمْ وَلَا تَخَافُونَ أَنَّكُمْ أَشْرَكْتُمْ بِاللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يُنَزِّلْ بِهِ عَلَيْكُمْ سُلْطَانًا. So Ibrahim is saying, how can I fear that which you associate as partners with Allah in worship? So meaning, how can I fear those things that you worship, whereas you don't worship, whereas you don't fear, are not fearful of the fact that you are associating partners with Allah, that for which He gave you no authority. Meaning, so the Shaykh Salih explains what this ayah means. It means that those people, his people, obviously they threatened him with their gods and with the things that they worshipped. You know, they said that if you don't agree to us or agree with our religion, then our gods will, you know, afflict you with evil, or our gods will harm you. So this is how they first of all threatened him. And so Ibrahim alayhi salam, he said this in response to that threat, as a refutation of them. What does it mean? It means, you know, how come you people don't actually fear Allah? You don't fear Allah, yet at the same time you are threatening me that I should fear your gods. You know, though your gods, which don't have any control over anything, they don't have any power over anything, they can't avail me of anything, or they can't avail you of anything, and you don't have any control. So how can it be the case that you don't fear Allah and you don't fear committing shirk with Him, yet at the same time you are trying to threaten me with your gods, which don't have any control over anything in the first place? How can that make sense? You know, it doesn't make sense. And so then Ibrahim alayhi salam continues and he says, فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. So Ibrahim says, so which of the two parties are more worthy of being safe, if you truly do know? Meaning, you know, is it me? Am I more worthy of being safe and secure, the one who worships only Allah alone without any partners? Or is it you people who commit shirk with Allah? You know, which of the two are more worthy of having safety and security? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after this ayah, He mentioned the ruling upon this. Right? He mentioned the ruling upon such a situation. So Allah said, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. That it is those who believe and don't confuse or mix their iman with oppression, with dhulm, meaning with shirk. It is those who have security and safety, and they are the ones who are rightly guided. And a dhulm, what is meant by dhulm here is a shirk. So therefore it becomes clear that al-amn, which is security and safety, it is only for the people of Tawheed. Only for the people of Tawheed. As for the mushrikun, then they don't have any security or safety, they only have azab, which is punishment. And this is a judgment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And likewise, just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about His Prophet Hud, that the Prophet Hud, likewise his people said to him, إِن نَقُولُ إِلَّا أَتَرَاكَ بَعْدُ آلِهَتِنَا بِسُوءٍ. That we say and we do not see except that some of our gods have afflicted you with evil. Have afflicted you with evil. So this is what the people of Hud said to him. And you know, they were trying to instill the fear into him of their gods. And this was when Hud alayhi salam invited them to Tawheed, and when he abandoned the worship of the idols, then when he invited them to Tawheed and the abandonment of worshipping of idols. When he did this, then they began to instill the fear into him of their gods and their idols, and they began to threaten him and saying that our gods might afflict you with evil, and they would threaten him in this manner. So they would say, إِن نَقُولُ إِلَّا أَتَرَاكَ بَعْدُ آلِهَتِنَا بِسُوءٍ قَالَ إِنِّي أُشْهِدُ اللَّهَ وَاشْهَدُوا أَنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِّمَّا تُشْرِكُونَ مِن دُونِهِ فَكِيدُونِ جَمِيعًا ثُمَّ لَا تُنظِرُونَ.